And now, the continuing story of Another World.
This Cecile, what's her name, from Bravo, said she wanted to do an interview with you about the arena?
Cecile de Polignac. You met her the other night, don't you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I also overheard her say that she wanted to do an article, but you know how people talk.
I don't know. She's very serious about this idea.
That could be terrific for us.
Do you think it would help our business?
To get a national article in a magazine? Of course it would.
Good. Then I'm glad I agreed to meet with her.
You know, you're becoming a very, very essential part of this organization.
Well, if you say so.
Oh, it's true. When did you meet this, Cecile, what's her name?
Cecile de Polignac.
Fancy.
Her father's a count, or something, I think.
She French?
I don't know. All I know is that she lived all over Europe. She traveled everywhere. She went to the best schools. She knew the right people. I think you get the picture.
You met her when she got back to Bay City?
Does that surprise you?
Nothing about you surprises me, sweetheart.
Actually, she, was engaged to my first husband after we broke up.
Who was your first husband?
Jamie Frame.
Then she knew him before you did.
Though I haven't seen her very much recently, I don't mind telling you that I never particularly liked her.
She seemed all right the other night.
Well, I don't know how she is now that she's such a hotshot on that magazine. She's the editor-in-chief, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I suspect, though, that she's going to use this whole thing to try to put me down.
Oh, why'd you say a thing like that?
Because she's always tried to prove how superior she is to me.
You can hold your own with her now.
I think I did the other night when she came into the arena with Jamie.
How come they never married?
She fell in love with somebody else. And then that turned out to be even more messy than her breakup with Jamie.
They seem to be getting it back together now, then.
Just because they came into the arena together?
They seem to be hitting it off.
I really could not care less. I don't care about it.
You sure about that?
Well, why do you ask that question? Are you trying to find out if I still have feelings for Jamie? I'm surprised at you.
Why?
You shouldn't have to ask a question like that. After all we've meant to each other.
You'll find that I'll always be asking questions like that.
There's something I've been thinking about, Jerry, in connection with your becoming a lawyer.
Oh, what's that, Brian?
Well, the possibility that you might be handling divorce cases.
Instead of being involved in one myself.
Yes. Now, I don't know how you might see it, but in handling a divorce, I've always felt it was my duty to try and get the couple back together before filing the papers.
A lot of lawyers would disagree with you.
Yes, I know. They want the business.
Well, the legal fees can be quite high.
Well, that's not the only consideration, Jerry.
At least it shouldn't be.
Well, I was thinking about those times when there's obviously still hope for a marriage. After all, if two people are still in love...
Like Blaine and me. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe it's my romantic nature coming to the fore.
You discussed this with Blaine the other day, didn't you?
Yes. But unfortunately, she was in no state to listen to anything I had to say about a reconciliation.
Do you think she'd be more interested in listening now?
If I could catch her at a calmer moment.
What was going on when you saw her?
Oh, she was getting ready to leave for the arena. it was her first night on the job.
I hate the thought of her working in that place, Brian.
Well, she wouldn't have to if you got back together.
I'll need some time to think about it.
All right. In the meantime, I'll go see Blaine again.
Hi. Hi. You have a few minutes to talk?
Yes, I was just doing some dictation. Why don't you sit down?
Thank you. Listen, I just wanted to know if you're free this Friday night.
Well, that depends.
Well, you see, my mom's having a small dinner party, and well, I thought maybe you'd want to go with me.
Yes, I am free, and I'd love to go with you, Jamie. But at the moment...
At the moment, what?
Oh, I don't know if I'm up to it after all that business with Pat.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much it's depressed me. I can hardly do my work.
Yeah. Well, look, you were on the spot. I mean, you had no choice but to tell Mac that Pat was drunk the day she came to see you.
Then you don't think that I was disloyal
No,
to
no,
her?
you did everything you could to possibly protect her.
But she's been so good to me, Jamie.
I know.
You know, I would never have said a word about her condition. You know, if she hadn't said something about a letter that she gave me to give to Matt.
Right, well, he had to know the truth about that.
But, you know, I just don't understand where she dreamed up this whole business in the first place.
Look, when people drink, when they're drunk, they can dream up all sorts of things.
But why would she say that she wrote a letter of resignation and give it to me instead of sending it directly to Mac? Jamie, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't
Listen,
either.
all I know is you did the right thing.
Oh. You know, Mac seemed to understand that, too.
Well, he saw that he'd forced it out of you, and he saw how painful it was.
Oh, you certainly made me feel a lot better about all this. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello, Myra. Oh, she did. Great. All right, make an appointment with her this afternoon if she's free. Yes, of course. I'll meet her at her place. I'll be happy to. Good. All right, thanks. Goodbye. Well, Blaine has agreed to talk to me about the arena.
Arena? You really think there's an article there?
Oh, it's colorful, Jamie.
Yeah, I know. Very, very colorful.
Well, at least Blaine seems to be on top of the world.
Is that the impression you got?
Mm-hmm. Well, she seemed very happy, didn't she, to you?
Listen, you know, I may not be the most perceptive person in the world, but I do have some insights into Blaine.
Oh, I didn't think she was so complicated.
Well, she is, especially when she's pretending.
Do you really think that she was pretending that night?
Something like that. But let's get back to Pat. Now, I just wish you'd stop feeling so rotten about what happened in Mac's office.
Well, if you're sure that you really understand.
Mac and I both do.
Well, I guess I should feel better then. If the two most important men in my life see it my way.
Liz, you heard what happened at the staff meeting this morning.
Concerning Pat?
Yes.
Yes, I heard.
You must feel pretty bad about it.
Yes, I do. And for Cecile,
For Cecile?
it must have been awful to have to reveal what she did.
I don't agree.
You don't think she enjoyed telling the truth about Pat?
Look, for one thing, Liz, I don't think Cecile told Mac everything that happened between her and Pat. And for another thing...
Stop right there, Philip, please. You don't know the situation.
On the contrary, I think I know about it quite a lot that goes on at Brava.
I'm talking about the situation about Pat. About the problem she had 5 or 6 years ago.
A drinking problem?
Yes. She got over it then. And she's going to get over it this time.
Well, I hope so, for her sake.
People who live in glass houses. We all have weaknesses.
Yes, indeed we do. But let me get back to what I was saying.
I don't want to hear what you were saying, if you don't mind.
Liz, I really believe that you don't know what Cecile's been up to.
Why do you want to blacken that girl's name? Haven't you done enough to her already?
Yes, I've done a terrible thing to her. But now she's taking it out on everybody, anyone who gets in her way.
If you are still referring to Pat, I can assure you Cecile had no choice. She could not cover up anymore. She went... Yes, Mac. Yes, he is. Yes, I will. Yes. You may go in now.
Thank you.
Oh, here, let me help you with that.
No, it's okay, honey. Keep steady.
Well, no, I was just about to take a break anyway.
How's it going?
Okay. Had an interruption before, but it was a welcome one.
Oh, somebody came by?
Brian Bancroft.
Your future boss.
He was here in a different capacity, though.
Oh, he came to discuss your divorce, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to hold off on it until he's sure that it's what Blaine and I both want.
Well, I'm all for that, Jerry. Tell me what he said.
Well, first he talked about the responsibility he feels when a couple comes to him for a divorce.
Yeah, what responsibility is that, honey?
Well, to try and effect a reconciliation before he files.
You know, the more I hear about Brian Bancroft, the better I like him.
I knew you'd feel that way.
He seems to have a lot of integrity.
Oh, he certainly does, Mom. There's no question about that.
Good. Well, tell me, what does he want you to do? Does he want to get you and Blaine together for a long talk?
Well, I guess that's what he wants to do later on.
What do you mean later on?
Well, after he's had a chance to talk to Blaine alone, and I have to decide whether I'm really interested in getting back together myself.
You mean you're not sure?
No, I'm not.
Well, honey,
I've got to think about it.
you must know how you feel about her.
All I'm feeling right now is a lot of confusion. I wonder if Amy went through this when she was getting her divorce. I'll give her a call and find out.
Listen, hold on a minute, Jerry, okay?
What is it?
Jim Matthews gave me an interesting piece of advice the other day.
And it wasn't about your income taxes either, was it?
No, it was about you.
Okay, what was it?
Well, I asked him what he thought a mother could do if her son is getting involved with a girl that she thinks might not be right for him.
And?
He says I should make one strong pitch against the relationship and then forever hold my peace. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep nagging you and make everything worse.
Sounds good.
Okay, I've said it. There's something about Amy Holloway that just doesn't ring true to me, Jerry.
You're wrong about her, Mom.
Okay, I've said my piece.
Well, you certainly didn't waste any time getting over here.
Well, I said I'd be right over.
You looking forward to seeing your new
Oh, yes. Oh, Amy, you'll understand why when I show it to you.
Oh, I can't wait to see this famous Iris Bancroft
Oh,
suite.
shh. We call it the penthouse suite now.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, Amy, you know what I was thinking about all the way over here from the complex?
No, what?
How appropriate it is that I'm getting the suite now that Iris is settling in Houston.
You really think of this as some kind of victory?
Yes, I do, Amy. She was awful to me, and now I've won out. And my getting that suite symbolizes that. Oh, that must be the manager. I told him to call here as soon as the suite was ready.
Oh, okay. Hello?
Hi, it's Jerry.
How are you, Jerry? Oh, sure, I'd love it.
Actually, I want to ask you about something.
What's that, Jerry? No, really, I enjoy giving advice. I'll make a point to be here in an hour. Okay, see you then. Bye.
Jerry has some kind of problem.
Oh, he thinks he has a problem. But whatever his problems are, they're not problems for me.
No, I just bet they couldn't be.
Actually, he's sweet. He thinks of us as two orphans in a storm.
Oh, some orphan.
It's sheer heaven, Cecile.
I know, isn't it an elegant bedroom?
And the color scheme is absolutely perfect for you.
Oh. Oh. Well, one thing you could say for Iris Bancroft, she certainly had impeccable taste.
She must have spent a fortune remodeling this place.
Yes, I know she did. She told me about it often enough. Amy! Hey, you look preoccupied.
I guess I am a little.
What are you doing, thinking about Jerry Grove?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, come on, you're going to be seeing him in about an hour. You better cheer up, unless you don't want to see him.
That's just it, Cecile. After I talked to him, I realized I want to see him a little too much.
And that's bad?
I'm beginning to like him more than I bargained for.
Oh, so all this kidding around is just a cover, eh?
I guess it is.
Hey, come on. You're not falling in love with the guy, are you?
Not yet. At least I hope I'm not.
Well, Amy, come on now. That wouldn't be so terrible, would it?
Cecile, he's married.
But he's getting divorced.
But the papers aren't filed yet, and until they are, he's a married man.
Come on, you don't think that Jerry's really going to go back with that dreadful Blade now, do you?
He's still hung up on her.
Did he tell you that?
He doesn't have to. I can tell by the way he talks about her.
Well, what's he even talking about her when he's with you?
We are consoling each other about our disastrous marriages, remember?
Put a stop to it.
But how? I mean, the reason he called me earlier was to ask advice about his divorce.
Well, just make sure that he keeps taking your advice, and soon Blaine will be right out of the picture.
I wish I could be more like you, Cecile.
In what way?
The way you handle Jamie. You're always on top of that.
I wouldn't exactly say that I have Jamie wrapped around my little finger.
But you always stay cool no matter what.
I wasn't so cool at one time.
When you were engaged?
Oh, Amy. We were madly in love for a while.
But you're not now.
Well, don't misunderstand me. I'm still terribly attracted to Jamie, and I'm very fond of him. It's just,
But it's not the same as love.
No. But in some ways, it's better.
I know. Much less heartbreak.
And I never want to go through that again. Never, ever. Besides, you know, I have to remember, Jamie is a package deal. And I must think about the other elements.
What other elements?
His money, his position, and the fact that he'll head Cory Publishers one day.
You are always thinking about the future, aren't you?
You better believe it. Oh, come on, Amy. Let's go look at the view. It's spectacular. Watch your step.
Oh. Oh, you're right.
Look down there.
Stunning.
Uh-huh. Look, you can even see the ships on the harbor.
Oh, yes. I bet this is really romantic at night.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's going to be wonderful living here. This is the perfect place for the editor-in-chief of Bravo magazine, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
I'm going to throw chic parties and conduct all my important business interviews here. Well, I'm going to turn this place into a salon, a jet-set salon of the 80s. Yes. How does that sound to you?
Sounds great.
But how come you're looking at me that way?
Well, I was just thinking about what you said earlier. About what this place means to you now that you're moving in.
My victory over Iris, you mean?
It really means something special to you, doesn't it?
You should have seen how she held court here, Amy.
Gave some good parties, huh?
Oh, the best in Bay City. Why, everybody who is everybody came here. And nobody dared to cross her.
You make her sound like some kind of queen bee, Cecile.
Yes, that's exactly what she was. But then after what she did to me, she had to leave town.
Was that really the reason she left?
Yes. And now a new queen bee is moving in.
And that's you.
You bet it is.
And now, the next part of Another World.
Jamie, you got a minute? There's something I'd like to ask you.
Sure.
I know this is none of my business. I'm just wondering whether or not you and Cecile are getting back together again.
We're friends. We see each other. Why?
Oh, but Cecile wants something more than friendship.
Well, I can't speak for her.
I know, but you know whether or not she wants to get something going again.
Hey, come on, wait a minute.
No, I know it. It's none of my business.
Right, which makes me wonder why you're asking me about it.
Well, you and I once vied for our intentions.
What about it?
Well, you must remember that she was sweet and ingenuous.
Was?
Yes, was.
Right.
You have noticed she's changed.
I'm not sure I agree with you.
You must have noticed that something's happened to
Look,
her.
all right, she may be a bit more sophisticated, but in most respects, she's just like the girl I was once engaged to.
You were never engaged to the girl who ran Bravo
Look,
magazine.
I just told you.
I know. She's a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah. Look, maybe here she's different, but out of the office, at home, she's just like she used to be.
And you're sure she's not putting on an act?
Why would Cecile try to put on an act?
To win you back, Jamie.
Look, you're way off base. Excuse me.
Well, how's everything going?
All right. Oh, come on, please sit down.
You enjoy working at the arena?
Oh, that's right. Last time you were here, I was starting my first night as hostess there.
Yes, you seem very excited by it.
Oh, the place is so glamorous. You'd be surprised what kind of people come in there.
Oh, some of Bay City's leading citizens, I imagine.
I think you'd feel very much at home there.
I can take that as a compliment?
Yes, because that's the way it was meant.
Blaine, you probably can guess why I'm here.
You want to talk about my divorce from Jerry, don't you?
Yes and no.
I don't understand.
Well, I haven't forgotten your refusal to consider a reconciliation last week. But I'm determined to pursue it a little further.
Why? Was it because of something that Jerry said to you?
Would it make a difference if you thought Jerry were interested in a reconciliation?
No, not really, because I'm sure he isn't.
All right, let's restrict our questions to your feelings on the matter.
Well, you already know what those are.
Well, I know what you say they are. But I got the strong impression the last time I was here that you still care about Jerry.
Well, I don't hate him or anything like that, but...
Oh, what I saw was a long way from hate, even dislike.
Well, just because I didn't say anything against him?
No. Because of the way you acted when I told you how well Jerry was doing. You actually seemed happy for him.
Shouldn't I be?
And proud, Blaine. The way any wife would be when she knows her husband's doing well.
Well, it is true that...
What?
Nothing.
Now, look, it's not a sign of weakness to admit that you still care for someone, even when you've been badly hurt.
Listen, this conversation is really getting us nowhere.
All right. But if there's anything I can do to help you on a personal level, will you please let me know?
Why do you think I need any kind of help?
Just a feeling I have.
But I told you last time you were here, I am doing just fine.
Yes, I remember.
Did you, say that you had spoken to Jerry about this?
No. But I have, just this afternoon.
What did he say?
Well, I don't know much about the specifics of your breakup, but I do know that you were both badly scarred by each other.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So, it follows that Jerry naturally would be a little cautious about the question of a reconciliation.
I see. So he's not interested.
Well, he didn't say that he wasn't interested.
What did he say?
That he'd like a little time to think about it.
Do you really think that Jerry would want to talk things over?
I think there's a very good chance he might.
Well, I guess if Jerry is willing to think about it, I guess I should be willing too, huh?
Now that strikes me as the proper attitude to take.
Okay. I will think about it.
Good.
And I will meet and talk with you and Jerry. But only if Jerry wants to.
Well, I wrote that letter to Robert Delaney today. Thought you might want to take a look at it.
You mean you wrote that today? When did you find time?
Well, that's one advantage about having a desk job.
Yeah.
There was a lull, so I thought I'd get that out of the way.
Oh, that was smart of you. Look, honey, why don't I get your beer?
No, you sit down. I get my own. I want you to take a look at that.
Okay.
You know, I'm not used to writing letters. I feel a little nervous about it.
I like the way you started off.
Just read the whole thing, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, what's the matter?
Nothing's the matter, honey.
You just look a little upset.
You're saying how much Cory means to you really gets to me.
You think it's the right thing to say to Cory's father?
Sure it is. You should know how you feel.
Well?
It's a beautiful letter.
Delaney may not think it's so beautiful. I asked him to quit pushing you to let him see his own son.
Honey, you're so nice and reasonable. He's got to understand.
You think he's going to give up his idea of coming here to Bay City?
Yeah, and I think he's going to stop writing me and asking me questions about Corey, too.
Oh, man, that was the toughest part. Asking him to not write you again.
Well, he's got to realize that it hasn't been easy for us.
Hey, there's something I want to ask you.
Huh?
Did I spell this word right?
Which?
Accommodate. Has that got 2 M's or has it got 1?
Gee, honey, I don't know. You know, I was never good at spelling.
But I love you anyway. Well, what about Robert?
What about?
Is he a good speller?
Oh. Well, he might be. After all, he's an architect.
I think I'm going to go get the dictionary. Doorbell? Yeah. Hello, Blaine.
Hi, big brother. How you doing?
You're in a good mood.
Am I?
Hi, Blaine. It's nice of you to drop by.
Good to see. Where's Corey? Because
He's
I
down-
have something very special for him. It's a poker chip from the arena.
Oh, well, he's going to be real thrilled about this, but he's down at the Actors playing with his friends Kenny.
Well, will you tell him to give it to him as soon as he comes in?
Sure, I'll be
okay?
glad to. And Larry's right about you. You seem in a good mood.
Well, things are going pretty well for me.
You mean with your job?
Sure, what else?
You mean you really like working at the arena?
Well, sometimes it gets a little bit tiring, you know, having to be nice to people all night long.
Probably because some of those people aren't so nice themselves.
Now listen, Larry, there's some bigwigs that come there every single night.
Yeah, I know. A lot of them shouldn't be either.
Hey, Blaine, why don't you sit down? I'll get you a nice cool drink.
No, thank you. I don't want anything to drink.
Jerry, hi.
Hi, Clarice, how are you?
Hi.
I came by to see my old partner now that he's back on duty. Hello, Blaine.
How are you, Jerry?
Fine. How's it going, Larry?
No? Well, don't ask. I mean, if it's about that desk job, it's for the birds.
Yeah, well, we were just discussing its advantages, though.
It's much safer, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Any day I can die from terminal writer's cramp. Hey, how about a beer?
Thanks, yeah.
Hey, you sure I can't get you something?
No, I'm positive, thank you.
Did Brian Bancroft come to see you this afternoon?
Yes, he did.
How'd it go?
It went nice enough.
He's very understanding.
Yes, he is. He told me that he had been by to see you earlier today, too.
Did he tell you I think I need a little time to think about it?
Yeah, I think I need some time, too.
Can I ask what this is you're thinking about?
Our divorce.
Yeah, well, I gathered that much.
You see, in his capacity as a lawyer, Brian Bancroft is also an officer of the court, and it's his responsibility to try and get us to reach a reconciliation before filing for a divorce.
You mean he's trying to get you two together?
Yeah, he is.
Well, I think that's a great law.
Hey, so do I. Don't you, Blaine?
Not all lawyers are as conscientious as Brian. They don't have his integrity or his sense of duty.
You mean some of them might just try to go ahead and push through a divorce instead of trying to work for reconciliation?
Well, let's just say they wouldn't try very hard. That's certainly not the case with Brian. Wouldn't you agree, Blaine?
Yes, I would. He's already been to see me a couple of times.
I tried to discourage him, but he insists on acting as a go-between.
Jerry, do we have to take Brian's advice and do what he says?
No. Not necessarily.
So tell me what's going on. Is Brian Bancroft not moving fast enough on your divorce plea?
Brian Bancroft doesn't believe in moving fast. That's what I'm in such a quandary about.
But I thought you said he was pushing you.
He insists on setting up a meeting between Blaine and I so we can try and work out our differences.
With or without his help?
Oh, I think he'd sit in at first. No, but What I'm wondering about is if you had to do anything like that when you were getting your divorce.
Yes, I did.
How did it turn out?
Jerry, I really can't advise you about your divorce. I mean, my problems with Matthew are nothing like your problems with Blaine.
Oh, well, I'm aware of that.
Something did just occur to me, though.
What's that?
You say that your lawyer is insisting on a meeting between you and Blaine?
Well, insist is a pretty strong word. He's trying very hard to get us together.
My lawyer did everything in his power to engineer a reconciliation between me and Matthew.
Well, did it help any?
No, as a matter of fact, it did just the opposite. Nothing is worse than having false hopes raised.
Is that what happened to you?
Well, yes, I thought we were working out our differences, but I didn't realize that I was making all the concessions.
Your lawyer was impartial, wasn't he?
He tried to be.
I think Brian Bancroft would be fair, too.
Jerry, when two people have sharp differences, somebody has to give in, no matter how helpful the lawyer is.
Oh, I think Blaine would be willing to agree to a few concessions.
Well, Matthew was, too, as long as we were separated. It was when we got back together that it was hard to deal with.
I didn't know you'd gone back to him.
Oh, it was strictly on a trial basis. What an ordeal that turned out to be.
Really?
Sheer hell. Jerry, I almost had a nervous breakdown.
And you aren't glad that you tried it?
Glad? I talked to another lawyer later who said it was a tragic mistake. By going back to Matthew, I made it seem that he was reasonable. So now he can fight me for a bigger portion of our so-called joint property.
Oh, it sounds like you really got used.
Of course, as I say, your situation with Blaine is entirely different.
Let me explain to you how we go about deciding whether a story is right for Bravo.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first, either a staff member or myself comes up with an idea for an article. Then I check it out to see whether it's worth pursuing. That's what I'm here about now, Blaine.
Really? I thought you were here to interview me now.
No. Even if we did go through with it, I wouldn't be interviewing you.
No?
No, I'd probably give this assignment to a new writer. She's from New York, and her name is Geraldine Iverson.
Jerry?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said the name of my ex-husband.
No. I was talking about a writer named Geraldine Iverson. She might be interviewing you.
Oh.
The story, if we do it, would have two aspects to it. And I'd like to draw you out on both of those to see if we have anything here.
Okay.
Okay. The first is the straight factual side of the article. How the arena is run, the hiring of the personnel, and all the different types of gambling games that go on, that sort of thing.
Then you're going to want photographs, I suppose, huh?
Mm-hmm. Especially if that room where the horse races are televised.
I think you can get permission for that.
Good. Now, for the personal angle, the human interest side of the story. Now, Blaine, this is where you come into it.
How?
Brava is a woman's magazine, and I think our readers would be very interested in learning what it's like to be a hostess in a place like the arena.
Oh, well, yes, I'd be
For
glad.
instance, would you say that you're treated like a sex object?
Well, I have to look my best.
Are you instructed to be especially nice to certain men?
I'm supposed to be very friendly, but not to the point that the women they're with get jealous.
Well, it sounds like we might have a very good story here.
Stay tuned for the conclusion of Another World.
So, you think a story on me being a hostess at the arena would be a good story?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's one other little thing that I wanted to know something more about, and that's the managerial aspect side of the operation. Although I suppose it's extremely obscure.
No, not at all. Jordan Scott runs the arena.
But who does Jordan Scott work for?
I don't have any idea. But it's perfectly legal.
How do you know that?
Because it's in the unincorporated part of Bay City, and they're not breaking any laws.
Yes, you're probably right about that. Although they wouldn't be allowed to operate in Bay City proper.
That's because they're not allowed to gamble in Bay City.
Yes, because the city has no jurisdiction on the unincorporated section. The people behind the arena can run it any way they like.
Well, I really don't know anything about that.
Well, I suppose we'll have to do a little digging. Anyway, I've noticed that you have a number of important clients there who don't seem the least bit shy about being seen there.
Yes, that's true.
Well, I'd like to get a line or two about them, and I think maybe you can help us out on that, too.
Okay, sure. I would be glad. Excuse me, if you please.
How's
hello.
my girl?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Scott. It's very nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, too. I hope I see you back at the arena soon.
Oh, I think you will. I had a very nice time there the other night.
Good.
Cecile is here talking to me about an article for Bravo magazine.
An article that we might do. This is just a preliminary discussion.
Well, if you decide to go through with it, you'll have my full cooperation. I'll get that. I'm expecting a call here, Blake. Hello? Hold on a moment. It's your husband.
Yes, Jerry. No, it's all right. I can talk now.
I take it that was Jordan Scott.
Yes. He's here along with Cecile Spurliniak.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk to me about?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I don't think this meeting with Brian is a good idea.
Well, neither do I. So, what were we talking about?
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World.